So my name is Zachary Adair, and I chose Sylvester and the Magic Pebble by William Steig for my challenged book this week. And here is the title. You can see on the upper right hand corner it contains the Caldecott Award, or the Caldecott Medal. And this is a very interesting book. Just reading it, by myself, I would never think that it would be a banned book. It's one of those that you really have to look into and I think discover from different people's analysis and through research of why it is banned. But starting off, the book is about it is a personification book, personifying different animals, and the main character, who is a donkey, who is Sylvester. Sylvester lives with his mom and dad, and Sylvester loves to collect pebbles and different rocks. And this is the picture of them in the first page, starting out. And it starts out to explain, because the pages are a little bit lengthy and it is a lengthier book. The book is an older book. The book was published in nearly 50 years ago, and it was published in 1969 and received the Caldecott Medal the year after it was published. So the book goes on. It starts out. It was a rainy day, and Sylvester was down by the river, and he found a remarkable shiny pebble. He picked this pebble up, and it turns out that the pebble was magical. Sylvester wished that the rain would stop, and immediately out of nowhere the rain stopped and the sun came out. Here is some of the illustrations. So it goes on, and it shows how Sylvester is running back home to show his mom and dad what he had found. And this is when the conflict begins in the story. A mean lion comes into play, the antagonist in the story. And as he goes across his commute to get back home, Sylvester runs into a mean lion. And while Sylvester is still holding this rock, he gets really startled and nervous. And shockingly, he turns himself into a rock. It says that he wishes that he would turn into a rock. The book says instead of turning himself into a butterfly or a daisy or a gnat, he could have wished for many different things, but instead he shockingly flipped out and turned himself into a rock. And the lion moves along, going throughout his day. So here it shows when he turned himself into a rock, he couldn't wish anything back because he had to be holding the rock to make a wish. So he was a rock now, and he wasn't holding, and he couldn't move at all. So it begins to cause conflict between his family. And it shows Mr. and Mr. Duncan, who is the parents of Sylvester Duncan, the donkey's parents. They begin to ask different people throughout the neighborhood about if they know his whereabouts and where he is. Also, an important thing to know about why the book is banned is this goes along with another picture in the book that demonstrates why the book is banned. Because this character right here is a pig. So it goes on, and They use different search parties to look for Sylvester, and no one seems to find him. And then this right here, this is another one of the main reasons why this book is banned from libraries and why it was banned in the 70s. So this quote up here says, "They went to the police. The police could not find their child." And it shows the police characters being pigs. And in many ways this is stereotypical, and it is representing the police to be personified as pigs. And in this case, the police was not helpful at all in finding Sylvester. So this is one of the main reasons why the book was banned, is because the different police departments really had a problem with what was going on at this time, and really what the book stood for, and the police didn't take that very well. So it shows different things here about the dogs also searched for Sylvester. They even went by the rock that Sylvester turned himself into, although Sylvester was in a sleep and he could not wish his way out of it because he wasn't holding the rock. But the dogs didn't have any luck finding him. So the Mr. and Mrs. Dotson was very sad after this had happened with Sylvester gone missing. They had no idea. They knew it wasn't like Sylvester to do this. So they tried their best to be happy. And here it shows Sylvester the Rock, who is just patiently, waiting and going throughout the seasons from fall to winter. It shows a wolf standing on top of Sylvester, howling because he's hungry. And it shows Sylvester waking up on a spring day after a long winter sleep. And this is where the story starts to come to a resolution. And an ending point is when Sylvester's parents began to go out on a picnic one day. After it had been nearly a year after Sylvester had gone missing, they decided to go out for a picnic, and they went out surprisingly to where Sylvester had turned himself into a rock, and the mother sat on the rock. So they had their picnic in the rock, and also Mr. Dotson, the father, recognizes this rare rock that he looks down and finds, not knowing that it is magical. So they're just talking about themselves, and they lay the magical rock on top of Sylvester the Rock. So it goes on, and it says that Sylvester wishes again, because he is now holding the rock and it is on top of Sylvester. He wishes that he was there with the mom and dad. And in the end, in conclusion, it shows Sylvester waking up and being there with Sylvester's mom and dad again, and they are rejoicing as they was out on their picnic, and the mother and father could not believe it. So they went back home and they put the magic pebble up and saved it again. And in conclusion, it says, someday they may want to use the rock again, but really for now, what more could they wish for? They all had all that they wanted. And it shows a picture of the family rejoicing. And because the book is 50 years old. The illustrations in the book are different from what today's children's book pictures would be, and I enjoy the older style pictures, because everything was hand drew at this time and painted or colored in. Even though the book portrays officers as pigs, as I was reading through the book, I didn't know right off the bat that it was a banned book. It took some research and reading other people's articles about why they think that it is a banned book, and why it is a banned book. And that is the sole reason, that is the reason behind why this book is banned, is because of the pig illustrations and the picture about the policemen being pigs. And at the time, this may have went along with, in the late 1900s, this may have been the standpoint and the movement at the time. So it really, I think this book goes along with history and what the people were trying to say about policemen or women, and the go-abouts of that.